Hey, what's good? I'm Isaac Lee. Coming to America just came out, and this is a prime example of why when you have a classic on your hands, you leave it alone. This is the rundown. Alright, so Amazon Prime finally released Coming to America. The sequel 30 years away from the original. I'll admit to you right now, I was not on board with this. It was a classic, cult classic by some people's means, but to me it's like you have something that's so perfect, that's so embedded in pop culture. The bar is set too high. Why are you trying to make a sequel to top that? It's never gonna top that. And then on top of that, my worst feel with that, they were gonna dive too much into nostalgia and not have enough to really bring to the table. And that's exactly what they did. That is exactly what they did. This movie is just jam-packed with nostalgia and callbacks. Every nook and cranny of this film is just, hey, remember this, remember that. They even have a section in this movie, and I'm not going to give any spoilers, but they have a part almost like in the middle of the film where they have a character who literally gives the whole story of the first movie, just so they can later give more references to what we've already. It's like you didn't even have to see the first one. You could just watch this and get two movies in one. And let's go back to the premise. Hakeem, he used to be prince, now he's become king after his father, who's played by James Earl Jones. He dies, but tradition in Zamunda is the fact that he has to have a son to really take over the mantle of, what's going to happen to Hakeem in the event, in the future. When he dies, he needs an heir, which by tradition has to be a son. And there's this whole clash because apparently he has a son that's all the way back in Queens, but at the same time he has three daughters, and it's his oldest daughter who's been wanting to be his heir the whole time. She's given her whole life, she's dedicated her life to one day being the queen of Wakanda. I wanted them to bring some new life into this as opposed to being so nostalgic. The person they have playing Hakeem's, I guess, biological son, Lavelle Johnson, I guess, but in real life his name is Jermaine Fowler. Nothing against the man personally, but he just didn't bring anything to the table. It's like, I hate the fact that this movie didn't have any quotables. Everything was a callback. There were so many callbacks that you can literally count how many callbacks they did put in. There's no Samuel L. Jackson. There's no landlord from the apartment building. And there's also, what was the third one? I'm drawing a blank now. Samuel L. Jackson, the landlord, and I honestly can't think of what the third one was, but you can list them on one hand. But back to Jermaine Fowler, and honestly, I feel like it was a miscast. Honestly, I feel like what they should have done, which would have made more sense, Jay Farrow. Jay Farrow would have been able to play more off of Eddie Murphy, And it's not like I'm expecting him to go toe-to-toe with Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy is a heavyweight in comedy. So I'm definitely not expecting him to go toe-to-toe, but I'm looking for him to bring what he can to the table to kind of complement what Eddie Murphy already has. But I'm not going to be a complete downer on this movie. Some of the callbacks I did like is they put a McDowell's in Zamunda. They brought back, again, no spoilers, but they do bring back John Amos, the owner of McDowell's. He's still holding on to the same line that he's not ripping off McDonald's. Like, they even brought back the people from the barbershop, who by all counts should be dead. They were super old in the original one 30 years ago. And especially the white Jewish guy, yeah, he was already on death's door. They bring back Randy Watson, and of course they also have to make a reference, they have to say that boy good again. It's like I don't hate the movie, but it had so much potential to be so much more than what it was. Oh yeah, and another thing, I remember writing this down in my notes. 13 hours, 7,500 miles away. They go back and forth from Africa to Queens like it's just across the street. Before I end this, they definitely had a lot more musical performances. You see In Vogue, you see Salt and Pepper. I could have swore I saw Erica Campbell. You see John Legend in it. Rick Ross is in it. I'm like... But with everything they had going for it, it was like, I knew they shouldn't have made a sequel. They went ahead and did it, and this is what we got. Whatever. it's like I can only be so optimistic, but those are clearly my thoughts. What are yours? And if you like what I had to offer, hit that like and subscribe at the bottom. I'm Isaac Lee, and that's been the rundown. See ya.